So, Mark, did you see that video of the sand sledding? You got dunes, you got a lake going down the slide. It reminds me of those water slides when we were kids at the amusement park. You'd sit on a mat and it would skip out across the water. And I would always manage to find a way to fall off of those.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at Action Park, there is a good chance that you were seriously injured on one of those. But no, this looks cool. Like it moved up above Safari of the thing I want to do in Africa the most. Except for you don't know like what's in that water. Is there crocodiles, alligators? Is it good? She goes out pretty far.
Well, it's above Safari. How could it be above Safari just to go on a sled on a sand dune? Come on.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh my God. So we've talked about lounges before on the show, how potentially they're overrated, potentially they're not relaxing, and there's all kinds of issues. But Delta just opened up their new Delta One lounge in JFK. This is for Delta One customers, and this is an expansive space. It's huge as a restaurant. I think it holds over 500 people. I want to say that design language in lounges has just gotten incredibly better over the last few years, especially airline lounges. And this is fantastic to see. But then 1 Mile at a Time wrote that it's already overcrowded, not very relaxing, huge noise apparently from everybody. So it just feels like a big, loud restaurant.
Yeah, and that's the worst when you're in a restaurant and it's just like noise bouncing off everywhere. You can barely hear the person next to you. But no, the design looks amazing. Besides maybe the sound area just way too wide open, and they were really focusing more on the restaurant, it seems like, similar to what we see in like the Polaris Lounge with their restaurant, and even like the AA First dining and all that stuff, which is I put a little bit above this, because if you get access to the dining portion of that, it's kind of secluded, there's not many people in there, it feels premium, where this feels just more like a Polaris Lounge. The one in Newark got really full towards the end, and it didn't feel comfortable at all. It felt like I was claustrophobic, stuck in my little chair, and people everywhere. The one in O'Hare, we were there, it wasn't a super busy time, so it was a bit nicer. We got to sit in the dining area. By the time we were leaving, it was getting very busy. You had to wait to get a table and everything. So it doesn't really offer what you think it's going to, I think, because they get so full. And if you have to wait outside to get in, you're already kind of rushed there. I don't know. It's tough.
I think what people expect from lounges is different, right? You want that exclusive luxury experience, which is what lounges in some cases, especially nice first class, business class lounges, delivered. But you can't give that to the masses, or else it just doesn't work because it's too loud, and that's what you get. AA's lounges are very similar, where you're right, they do have the dining kind of separated off. So if you have access to that, you do get more of a premium experience. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're getting with lounges now. They're nicer than ever. We've seen tons of Delta Sky Clubs come on that are just beautiful, just stunning spaces, but they have huge lines. More people have learned about this. More people want it. So you're getting nicer spaces, maybe a better product, but you're not going to be alone. You're not going to be alone.
The new Delta Sky Clubs, beautiful. Whoever they have designing these things, they're doing a really great job. And the good thing about when these lounges open is everybody floods to them. So whenever there's a new lounge, look at what was the second or best, third, best lounge at that airport. Now it's probably kind of empty. So that's where the silver lining is. Head to the Priority Pass Lounge or a different airline lounge if you can get access. And everybody's going to be focusing on Delta for at least, the next year.
Speaking of Capital One lounges, the good news is they finally started construction on the Las Vegas lounge. They announced the lounge, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago, something like that. And then the area just sat empty and empty and empty. And then finally construction walls have gone up. So good news there. The Capital One lounges are incredible. I love these lounges. They're getting better and better, but I just don't want to be crowded in with everybody. So it is a double-edged sword, but yeah, this is a beautiful space. Delta's killing it. As you said, their designers are killing it. So keep up the good work on that. So we can't do a 20-minute travel without a Chase Sapphire story, I guess, apparently. They had the increased offers last month, and they ended already, but I guess some people are running into problems where they're eligible for the bonus, but Chase somehow says they're not.
Yeah, people noticed that they didn't get the bonus tracker in their account, which is never guaranteed. So they're just like, hey, what's going on with my bonus tracker? And they're being told by frontline employees, you're not eligible for the bonus. They're quoting the 48-month rule. The problem is these people have never had either Sapphire product, so that's not a problem. And they're kicking it up to supervisors, and they know there's like a glitch in the system. They're aware of it. We're just kind of waiting to see how it plays out. Do they get it fixed? Do you need to start a ticket, or do you just wait it out? I suggest complete the spend, see if it posts on your statement. If it doesn't, then reach out and fight for it. Hopefully, usually Chase is pretty good at getting things fixed.
Yeah, I think you gave great advice here. Don't worry about chasing them down. Don't, worry too much about this. if you know for sure that you're eligible for the bonus, you'll get it, I'm sure. And my guess is if this happened to a bunch of people, Chase will figure it out and they'll proactively fix it. So do your spending. And then if you don't get your points, contact them. But, sometimes we can, I don't know, create more problems for ourselves or more anxiety, more work. And sometimes you just got to let things sort of work their way out. And a lot of times that just happens. You don't have to worry too much about it. And then if not, Chase is pretty good with customer service.
Work smarter, not harder, like they say. Do it and don't start fighting until you have to. Like let's hope somebody else fought the good fight and laid the path for you that it's all fixed by the time you're ready.
Work smarter and not harder. That's what you say. And that's about our next story here, raw dogging on flights. So I came across this thing. This is smarter and not harder. I came across this
This is
phenomenon all
harder,
over
not
social
smarter.
media. Okay, well, whatever. But this speaks to me because I have actually, so raw dogging on flights is where you basically sit there and you just stare forward the entire flight. Now, some flights have the little screens so you can stare at the map as it just goes on. People take this to the extremes where they don't eat or use the restroom as well. But I think just sort of the normal version is you just sitting there, no entertainment, no music, and you just sort of experience the flight for what it is. And I didn't know that this was a thing, but I've actually done this a few times where I've been so tired or I've traveled so much and I don't want to listen to anything and I don't sleep well on planes. So I'm just sort of like sitting there. And I've done 4 or 5 hour flights just staring at the map. And I didn't know that this was a whole phenomenon out there. Have you ever done it?
No, I have not. At first, I thought raw dogging was going to be like Mile High Club without protection. I didn't know where this was going. And then you read the article, and we talked about a story on MTM Vegas show that is joining the Mile High Club in Vegas, like a planned thing. So it's kind of funny how they overlapped a bit this week. But no, my wife has done it not intentionally. She always plans to just sleep. She gets on the plane thinking she's going to sleep and then can't fall asleep, but didn't bring headphones or didn't download anything to her phone to watch and stuff. So she just ends up sitting there, maybe listens to music if she did have her headphones. But I've never done this. Isn't this like a Seinfeld episode and Elaine dumps the guy because she thinks it's too weird that he just sat there and didn't do anything the whole flight?
That sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know. People
Yeah,
can let us know in the
I think it
comments.
is.
I'm sure it's not an original idea, but yeah, there's people that are challenging themselves to do 12, 13, 14-hour flights. They feel like they feel better on the other end. It's a way to disconnect, no internet, no noise from the world. I sort of get it. And maybe it's a backlash to the world that we live in. But I can say the couple times I did it, it wasn't like I planned or said I didn't know that there was a word for this, specifically that word. But I did it just because I was tired and ready, and I actually enjoyed it. So maybe I should do it more often, and especially on couple-hour flights, be a little bit more mindful and not be zoned out as much.
Yeah, I do love, taking advantage of the flight and try. I know everybody has messaging now and stuff. I try to like keep my phone away from me. So that's kind of what I do. I still like watching movies or catching up on TV shows that I don't have time to watch normally during the week. So that's kind of like my me time that relaxes me. So that's what I do. But I totally understand people that just want to zone out and kind of take a break from everything. I'd still have to listen to music though. I can't just sit there and stare like a serial killer.
The engines are music, the noise, the ambiance, passengers coughing, all of that's going on. The world is happening, Mark. Take your headphones out, enjoy it. But let us know if you've ever raw dogged on a flight or if you like doing that. Hit us up in the comments. So we're back to banks and American Express. And one of the cool things American Express has done, and I want to say cool because people have scaled this to huge levels and done incredibly well by adding authorized users, and they have various bonuses. They'll say add an authorized user and that authorized user spends so much money and then you'll get so many points. And they've had this across various cards. Well, on the platinum card, one of the ways to do it was to get a free card as an authorized user. You can get a authorized user card with less benefits or no benefits for 0 annual fee, or you can pay like $195 to add authorized users. Well, if you're adding, $195 to get these points on this offer, does it really make sense? No, it doesn't. So a lot of people did the free card, and now American Express is blocking that in the terms.
Yeah, I noticed this last week and wrote about it. And our buddy Danny at Danny the Deal Guru, wrote about it like a month ago. And he sent to me, he's like, "Hey, I already wrote about this. What do you do?" It was kind of funny. And this came out, I think, like early May is the first time that I've noticed it, that he noticed it. So it says, and this was a better offer. It's you spend $2,000, you get 20,000 points, which is normally spend 2,000, get 5,000 points. So I think that's why they tied it in. Like they want you to say, hey, 20,000 points is worth about $200. It's worth paying the fee for this card holder. And maybe it makes sense if you have somebody in your life that could use the benefits of the platinum card that doesn't have their own. For a lot of us, our player two already has their own platinum card. So adding another person wouldn't really help. Maybe you add your kid, something like that. But it does kind of offset the cost. So at least it's not like 5,000 points and you're spending $200. So it makes it a little bit tougher of a decision for sure.
The decision is not to do it. Then you end up with a card that's 195 annual fee every year. Now, I guess some people get the platinum card and they cancel it after a year. They try to get other offers, but other people keep it. Then you have to deal with that in the future. If you're just purely adding the 195 for the $200 or the 20,000 points, don't do it. But there's other versions of these offers, and you can actually add multiple other cards. So sometimes you can get that bonus on several additional cards that you add. So then it can be a better deal. So keep an eye out on those. And they're great, but this one I would definitely pass on. No $195 fee for me. Now, this next redemption, Mark, I'm not passing on this. I'm saving my 50,000 points. You put in the notes the world's dumbest airline redemption. I think it's the world's smartest airline redemption, because who doesn't, you get your number and you hate it. You can't ever remember your frequent flyer number. Well, Etihad is changing all of that. And for 50,000 miles, you can pay to get a new number, a new membership number, a custom membership number, one that you can remember.
So would yours be like 000000012 or 0000004?
Okay, yeah, Favre or Rogers, is that what you're?
Yeah, 50,000 miles to just pick your number, and then there's a good chance somebody already has that number. It's kind of wild. With you having an app and everything, there's no real need. Maybe, 30 years ago, this would have made sense. Now, not so much. I do remember both mine and my wife's American Airlines number, which is weird because it's numbers and letters, but somehow I remember both of those. It's shorter. So maybe that's the thing. Like, let's not have a 12-digit number thing. Let's go to American Airlines and people can just memorize it on their own.
It's true. I know pretty much all of our AA numbers. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. 50,000 points is pretty steep. I wonder what the motivation was for this. Did they have too many high net worth clients that just, they were mad about this? So they're just like, screw it, and, threw this high number out there. I don't know. It's an interesting sort of thing, but 50,000 points is a lot.
Yeah, does anybody use their Etihad guest account that much that it's worthwhile? Like, it's not like a mainstay. I mean, it is in parts of the world, I'm sure, but for us and for the US people, I don't think anybody uses their account all that much that they're worried about it.
Yeah, so let us know if you guys would do that. I think vanity, some people, 50,000 points, $500, $1,000, whatever would be worth it for the vanity.
If you're just 0001, that would be kind of cool.
So you got to be the first person to do this. So back to Chase with some spending offers for the third quarter. The way that these work is they send them out as targeted offers to people, but there is a link, and we'll put a link to the article on Miles to Memories in the description, where you can check to see if you're eligible for these offers. Depending on the card, you can earn either 5x or 7x bonus points for every dollar you spend on up to $1,000 in combined purchases in gas stations, grocery stores, home improvement stores. This is a great offer because gas and grocery, those are our mainstays. We love that. So anytime you can earn points, it's pretty good. And you were saying the IHG cards getting the 7x and then some other cards getting 5x?
Yeah, I think like a Marriott's a 7x, IHG, like the points that are worth a little bit less getting 7x, but like Hyatt gets 5x. And there's a chance you don't get anything when you check for the link, or you get that stupid HBO Max offer that I've been getting on all my cards for the last like 4 months. I can't wait till that thing is done.
So another thing to talk about related to credit cards is the bonus categories for the third quarter. We talked about the Chase Freedom previously, gas, live entertainment, movies, but Discover also has a similar thing, $1,500 in spend in the quarter. You get 5% cash back, and they have Walmart and grocery stores in this quarter, which is pretty amazing. And then City Dividend, does anybody still have the City Dividend card? If you do, gas stations is on there as well, and you get that on up to $6,000 in spend over the year. You can choose which quarter you do your spend. So they all work a little bit differently. And then you have the US Bank Cash Plus card, where you get to select your categories from a list. So those are like the 4 cards that have the rotating categories. Do you think that everybody should have one of these things? Or I think most people in the space, Discover and Freedom, that's where they focus.
Yeah, you can get 2 Discover cards, so I think everybody should load up on both of those, especially if Capital One takes over. You don't know what that's going to turn into, and we still have a ways to go on that if they end up merging and everything like that. But I got 2 for me, 2 for my wife. That's $75 every quarter for each card. So there's $300 in cash back I can earn, usually fairly easily. Buying gift cards at the gas station or the grocery stores and stuff works, either third party or Visa gift cards, stuff like that. So you have that option. Freedom, there's no better way to rack up, 5x. I know some people will say the in cash is better, but that's regulated to office stores, which, is good, but not as good, I would say, as you're getting gas stations and groceries and rotating categories and stuff. So for regular people, it's the best way to rack up ultimate rewards points. So I think you can get your hands on a couple of these, even if you sign up for like another Freedom card like the Unlimited. After a year, product change it to a Flex. You can have multiple Freedom Flexes, stuff like that. So I think everybody needs a couple 5% earners in their wallet for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel like you're in this hobby unless you have some 5% cards, even though, I think as people get more in depth in this hobby and they get deeper down the road, those smaller earnings you're going to get from those are less important, but still kind of cool and still good. And especially on the quarters where you have something like grocery stores, like we have with Discover, that's the time to really hit that up. So even if you don't maximize it every quarter, like finding the easy ones and doing it then, it's always nice. And when you're earning 5% back, you're winning. And I think that's always a good thing.
One tip we should throw in there is if you don't, let's say you have a Tesla like Sean and you don't really go to the gas station much. Like I said, you can buy gift cards, stuff at Speedway and others, Royal Farms out on the East Coast. One thing to check is if you have a local 7-Eleven, go in there, make a small purchase. A lot of those code as gas stations, especially for Visa cards, even if they don't sell gas. So that's a definitely an area to check out.
And let's close with this a juicy rumor about Chase that they're going to launch new premium personal and business cards. And by premium, we mean like super premium, like for their best customers, their private client customers. I believe they still have the Palladium card, or they did have it, which was for those types of clients, which is very similar to the Sapphire Reserve. In fact, it was almost a copy of the Sapphire Reserve with a much higher annual fee. So it didn't make a ton of sense. But I guess they're coming out with this new thing. We don't know a ton about it, but Project Emerald is supposedly the name. Dr. Credit reporting on this. I mean, it's probably not for either one of us, but maybe we'll see some innovation in the high-end space. Amex has their Centurion card, which isn't very good. It does have some other benefits over the Platinum, but it doesn't really earn points in a good way, no bonus categories and stuff. Could Chase come out and really attract higher net worth people from Centurion by offering a competitive card?
Yeah, that's where I think this would go. I don't think it makes sense to have different earning or better earning or anything like that. Maybe it will come with a big bonus initially, but I don't even think the Centurion offers a bonus at all. It's all about the exclusivity, hard to get in. You have to spend millions of dollars before they even consider giving you one. So I wonder if that's where they're going to aim. And then it's just an ego stroke. We've talked about this before with the miles and picking your own number. Some people will do it just to say, "Hey, I got this," and most people can't get it. I don't think there's going to be any value for the regular everyday traveler like us. I don't know. Maybe they actually have a decent, they'll probably have tables at the Sapphire lounges so you can sit down. You don't have to wait in line, stuff like that, like we see at the Centurion lounges. I don't think it's going to be anything major if it even comes to it. And do you think the black card makes Amex money overall?
Yeah, I definitely think it does because the annual fee is huge. I have a family member who has a black card with American Express, and it gets you in their ecosystem. They use the concierge for everything, and so they're probably earning commissions on bookings, and he does everything through Amex Travel and all of that. So I
One
think it
cent a
does
point.
probably make sense. And for Chase, I mean, their private clients, they have that whole, regular banking side that American Express is starting to get into, but does not really have as much. So, they really do have some incentive here. But my big question to you would be, who's going to be douchier, the new Chase Emerald cardholder or the Centurion cardholder?
I think a Centurion because they're like the mainstay. So they'll be like, "Hey, we've been around. You guys are the new kids on the block." I think Chase just kind of naturally skews a bit younger with the Sapphire Reserve. Like I think millennials really picked up that card in full force. So I think it's going to be like that, 50 to 65 versus 30 to 45, and maybe they're both going to be equally douchey.
Right answer. You got the right answer right there.
I talked my way into it.
So let us know what you think about anything we talked about today. The new Delta Lounge in JFK, the overcrowding, the noise. Is it beautiful? The bonus issues with Chase, the quarterly categories, the new premium card, Mile High, raw dogging on an airplane. Mile High was the other show. Check out. MTM Vegas for that one. But leave a comment. This is a new show. We really appreciate your support. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, do all of that good stuff. And don't forget to check out MTM Vegas, where we do a show twice a week, all about the cool stuff in Vegas as well, right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.